When you're looking at real estate, especially from an investment point of view, you're usually looking for things like growth, speed, and how close you are to all the action. But what if the next massive opportunity is the complete opposite of that? Well, this is Sierra. It's a project that's built from the ground up around a single idea: stillness. Now, I know that sounds a little weird, right? Especially for a city that's always on the move. But that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Is stillness just a clever marketing phrase, or is it a seriously powerful untapped value proposition for city living? Let's get into it.
So this slide, it really gets to the heart of the matter, the tension you feel in a city like Dubai. Over on the left, you've got the engine, right? Speed, ambition, growth that just never stops. And on the right, you have this deep human need for a little peace and quiet. For years, pretty much all real estate development has been chasing the left side. But the entire investment idea behind Sierra is that they're betting on the right side. They're betting that there's a huge, underserved market that's craving it. The bet is that the new luxury isn't just about being close to the action, but having a guaranteed escape from it.
And this is their big idea, boiled down to one simple line: the city moves, you don't have to. This isn't about running away to some far-flung suburb, it's about building an island of calm right in the middle of the city's current. For someone living there, that promise means a better life. But for an investor, it's something even more valuable. It's a super clear, totally unique brand identity. In a market that's pretty crowded, convenience without the chaos is a pitch that's really hard to forget.
Okay, so let's really dig into this whole idea, this philosophy of pace versus stillness. Look, any successful real estate investment is solving a problem. The problem they're tackling here is that feeling of burnout, the sensory overload you get from living in a city that's basically running 24/7. Sierra's solution is to treat wellness not as just another feature, but as the main product.
And this is where you see just how smart their strategy is. On the left, you've got the established brand of Dubai itself: ambition, speed, nonstop action. Now, instead of trying to compete on those terms, by being taller or faster or more central, Sierra just creates its own lane. On the right, you see their promise: luxury without the rush. The key insight here for an investor is this: they are literally redefining what luxury means for this market. It's not just about speed anymore. It's about your quality of life, the ability to just switch off. That's not a small niche. That's a deep and potentially very profitable market.
And here it is, the building itself. This is the promise made real. Just notice how the picture sets it apart from the really dense parts of the city. You see more green space around it, and the design of the building itself, with those clean lines and all the integrated plants, it just visually screams balance. For an investor, this is so important. The building itself does the marketing. It looks exactly like what it promises to be, and that's a powerful magnet for the kind of people they want to attract.
Look, a great idea is one thing, but if you're putting your money down on something, execution is everything. So that brings us to the most important question for any project like this. Who is the developer, and can they actually pull it off? A great idea with a shaky developer is a recipe for disaster. But a great idea with a proven developer? Now that's a real opportunity. So let's take a look at the track record of Iman Developers. Okay, so this slide, this is all about one thing, and one thing only: reducing your risk as an investor. What you're seeing is a consistent history of actually delivering. Starting back in 2016, Iman Developers has been steadily finishing projects year after year, and they've got a strong pipeline coming up. This isn't some flash-in-the-pan company. They've got a whole portfolio. From an investor's perspective, this timeline proves they have experience, financial stability, and they really get the Dubai market. Every single one of these completed projects is a proof point that lowers the risk. You're not just betting on a concept. You're partnering with a team that has a history of turning pictures into actual buildings.
All right, let's move on to the next big piece of the puzzle: location. Now, their choice of Motor City wasn't an accident. It's actually really clever. It's not in the middle of the craziness of downtown or the marina. The developer says the location is calmly connected. So let's see if that's actually true. So when you look at it from above like this, you really get it. You can see the Sierra project highlighted there, and you can see the vibe of the whole area. The streets are wider, it's less dense, there's more green space. The key thing here is that the neighborhood already feels like what the project is trying to be. They aren't trying to force an idea onto a place, they're just making what's already there even better. That is a much, much smarter and lower risk way to develop. But here's the kicker. Calm doesn't mean you're out in the middle of nowhere. This is the data that proves the connected part of their claim. Mall of the Emirates, 20 minutes. The Palm, 20 minutes. Dubai Mall, just 22. Even the airport is under half an hour away. This little table shows that people living here get all that peace and quiet, but they don't have to give up easy access to all the main spots in the city. For someone looking to rent or buy, that's a huge plus. And for an investor, that means higher demand and better rental income. Simple as that.
Okay, so we've got a solid developer, a smart location. So what are you actually buying? What's the product? The developer is betting big on all these wellness features. So we need to figure out if this is a genuine game changer or if it's just, some nice marketing. Get ready for this number, 75,000 square feet. To give you some perspective, that's about the size of 1.5 American football fields. And all of that space is just for amenities. This isn't some tiny gym stuck on the roof. This is a massive investment, a huge statement that they're serious. They're building a lifestyle here that you just can't get in a normal building. This whole amenity deck is the engine that drives the project's entire value. So this right here, this is the master plan for that 75,000 square foot investment. I love the caption, "Wellness is lived, not scheduled." And this plan shows you exactly what that means. It's a whole ecosystem. As an investor, you've got to realize these are the specific things that are going to attract and keep great tenants. Let's break it down into two different zones, the active stuff and the quiet stuff.
First up, you've got the active zone, which is absolutely key for attracting families and younger professionals. Of course, there's a big pool, but then you have a paddle tennis court, which is super popular right now. And for families, wow, the offering is amazing. A jungle gym, a special splash pool for kids, and they even have a zip line and a trampoline. I mean, this isn't just a playground, it's like a mini adventure park. For a family, think about the value of not having to leave the building for weekend fun. That is a direct impact on how much you can rent the place for.
Okay, so we've covered the high energy side, but now let's get to the real core of what Sierra is all about. The central promise is stillness. And this is where the project really sets itself apart from everyone else, with amenities that are designed for one thing, pure tranquility. I mean, seriously, look at this list. These are not your standard amenities. A zen walkway, a forest walkway, secret cabanas, a reflection pond. Every single one is specifically designed to help you de-stress. The key thing to see here is how deeply they've committed to the idea. The developer isn't just saying the project is calm, they are building the physical spaces to make you feel calm. From an investment point of view, this creates a strong, defensible advantage that competitors can't just copy and paste.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the numbers on the spec sheet. We're talking 593 residential units plus 5 retail spots on the ground floor, which adds some convenience and another source of income. It's a 41-story tower with plenty of parking. And here's the most important date for any investor. They're expecting to complete it in the second quarter of 2029. That timeline gives you a really clear path for your financial planning and your exit strategy.
So, looking at this unit mix, what does it tell us about who they're trying to attract? It tells us they're going after pretty much everyone. It's incredibly diverse. You have studios for single professionals, 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, all the way up to these massive 4-bedroom duplexes that even have their own private pools. Now, from an investment standpoint, this diversity is a huge strength. It spreads your risk across a bunch of different types of renters and buyers, which means the project isn't just relying on one small part of the market. That should lead to much more stable occupancy over the long run.
So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, the philosophy, the developer, the location, the actual stuff you get, it makes you ask a bigger question. Is this just a one-off cool project, or could this be a whole new blueprint for how we develop cities? It's proposing that the greatest luxury isn't about how fast you can go, but about your ability to find stillness. And yeah, it's a big vision, no doubt. But for an investor, this is where it gets really interesting. The success of a project like this could signal a huge shift in the market. A shift where the well-being of the residents becomes a real, bankable asset. It's a bet that after everything we've been through, what people truly value in a home has fundamentally changed, and that buildings designed for this new priority of balance and wellness will end up being the ones that outperform everything else.
And that's really the big question we're left with, isn't it? Is engineering stillness the new standard for luxury in a city? Has the definition of a premium property moved beyond just fancy kitchens and a great address to now include things like zen gardens and reflection ponds? The entire investment case for Sierra hangs on the answer being yes. And it's a pretty compelling idea that in a world that never ever stops moving, a sanctuary might just be the ultimate luxury. Thanks for joining me for this analysis.